Just when I thought CBR.com could not get any fucking dumber than they already were, one of their pseudo-intellectual writers decides to chime up and say, "Hold my beer." Hello, this is Mara Jade, I'm here with another video, and I found this gem of an article entitled, Zack Snyder's 300 remains intensely problematic. You read that correctly. Remains intensely problematic. As if this has been an issue that has been fomenting for the past nearly 15 fucking years since its release. Subtitled, while 300 is getting a 4K release. So this author, this Margaret Lockyer, I'm going to call her Karen, by the way, from this point forward, Karen decided to pounce on the announcement to rant and rave about the issues in this film. And what are those issues? It is important to look back at the film and comic critically for the homophobic, racist, and ableist portrayals. You read that correctly, folks. Homophobic, racist, and ableist portrayals. I wish I was making this dumb shit up. But let's go into this article and see what her points are. So, enlighten us, Karen. Let's go into this. Zack Snyder's 2006 period epic 300, based on the comic series by Frank Miller and Lynn Varley. Yes, it's based on the comic series. So don't look for anything to be historically accurate, with few exceptions, in this film. Essentially what she's doing in this article, but let's go into this. It is receiving a 4K release, which will no doubt reignite the controversies surrounding the film. You mean the imaginary ones fomented by your other pseudo-intellectual predecessors that went nowhere? You're talking about those controversies? Snyder employed green screen and staging to directly mirror the panels of the comic, resulting in stunning visuals, which were the primary focus for the positive reviews at the time. However, despite 300's technical and commercial success, reviews were overall mixed, with some critics, yes, critics, singling out the film's racist, homophobic, and ableist elements. I shit you not, this woman actually wrote it. The film and the comic are fictionalized accounts of the legendary Battle of Thermopylae, which took place in 480 BC during the Second Persian invasion of Greece. The key word there, invasion. Invasion. Keep that in mind as we progress in this article. In the battle, 300 Spartan soldiers, led by King Leonidas, held off the Persian army for 3 days in the narrow coastal pass, Hot Gates. Thermopylae, literally translated, Hot Gates. It's the comic and film's oversimplification of the Spartans and Persians that forms the basis of my agenda. The basis of the narrative's problematic nature. So here it is. The shocking racism and pro-imperialism of 300 does not exist in a bubble, but it's irresponsible that the film refused to question or investigate the source material's problematic. Every time you use the word problematic, Karen, you lose credibility. While at the same time, I lose IQ points reading this dumb fucking shit. Aspects in favor of focusing on capturing the comic's aesthetics. For instance, Snyder's Spartans are a society of white, able-bodied people fueled by aggression and violence, and they are praised as the unquestionable heroes. On the other hand, the villains are portrayed as a gender-fluid society that was visibly not white and the incarnation of evil and treachery. Okay, alright, to that stupidity. In a nutshell, the Persians were the invading army. They were the bad guys. They were the ones attacking the Spartans. The Spartans were the ones defending their homes. So in a sense, you want to root for the people who are defending their home world from the aggressors. That's what it boils down to, Karen. The Persians were the imperialistic ones. They were, in this instance, they were the ones pillaging and conquering worlds. They were the ones going after Greece to conquer it. People have pointed out to me on Twitter that you are supposedly a student of history. How do you not fucking know that? .300's depiction of good versus evil is overtly racist by having white be inherently good while people of color are inherently bad. See my earlier little rant that the Persians are the invaders, and Persia would be situated around where, guess where, Karen? around where Iran is. And what do Iranians look like? Huh, Karen? What do they look like? It also reinforces the growing untrue notion that foreigners entering a white country are to be feared and attacked. Oh my fucking god. They were invading Greece, you asshole! Harmful representation like that can support the false notion that it's right to fear immigrants, especially immigrants of color. Are you fucking serious, Karen? Are you really fucking serious? How do you write this shit and not think to yourself, that is stupid? Is your head so far up your ass that you cannot see that? The film's harmful depiction of race promotes the idea that racist ideologies like this are a way to protect a morally superior way of life. I'm having an aneurysm right now. I swear to God I am. Furthermore, 300 Spartans, the heroes of the narrative, yes, they are the heroes of the narrative because they are the ones being attacked, you dumbass, are from a military-based society that promotes violence, aggression, and fascism. No, they're from a military-based society that's, how do I put this? I don't want to say glorifies, but they're a very combat-oriented society. They are a warrior-like culture. They're not fascist. They don't promote violence unless they are attacked, unless they have to take the fight to the aggressor. They don't promote aggression, you fucker. The film frames this society as a free democracy. In a sense, it is. In case you missed it, Karen, there are the warriors. They are kind of like the soldiers. And then there are the politicians. They weren't warriors. They were the ones debating the laws and so forth. They weren't the ones fighting. Did you miss that, Karen? In combination with the above noted anti-Middle Eastern sentiment, I'm half Middle Eastern, Karen, and I love this film, so go fuck yourself. This feeds into a warped notion of patriotism that prides itself in xenophobia and racism. No, it's patriotism to the point where you root for the people who are defending their homeland. That's where it is, Karen. You fucker. The film is irresponsible in its casual expression of fighting for so-called freedom when the government itself is far from a free democracy. King Leonidas claims that the Spartans are free men who are fighting against a tyrant, but the Spartans are the ones systematically murdering their own children for nonconformity, and they are the ones who have created a monoculture of soldiers and wives. Again, not monoculture because there are politicians in the midst, if you fucking missed that, Karen, that offer zero opportunity for freedom of choice or expression. Okay. Little historical factoid, Karen. Do you want to know something about the women? The Spartan women? They were trained in combat as well. Did you know that? Karen? They were trained in combat. They were trusted with the last line of defense for Sparta. Should these Spartans, the men, be overrun when they go on the offense. Or defense in this case, because they are defending their homeland. So the women are trained in combat too. And to the point where they're systematically murdering their own children for nonconformity, other cultures did that. I'm not defending this in this instance, but other cultures did that. It's not glorifying it. It's showing it that happened. And it was up to the viewer how they feel about it. Most times, people are going to be disgusted because they're murdering children. But that's not the point of the film. As mentioned earlier, the murder of children who do not conform to societal norms is one of many issues with the Spartans. When you say societal norms, you're using that as a broad brush. It wasn't societal norms, Karen. It wasn't. And like I said, other cultures did that. Pushing forward an ableist ideology. 300 glorifies the idea. They're not glorifying it. No, they're kind of stating it as a matter of fact that this happened. It's up to the viewer how they take it. With disabilities and those who do not fit a desired physical appearance have no right to live or be part of this society. In the early scenes of 300, skulls of dead children who were deemed unacceptable are put on screen to glorify how strong the Spartans are, since they only accept perfect individuals in their society. It wasn't to glorify them, it was to point out that was happening. Because it was building up King Leonidas, so to speak. Again, King Leonidas, the Spartans are the heroes in this instance. Not just in the graphic novel, in a sense, in this instance, because they were the ones who were defending Greece, helping to defend Greece because Persia was invading. The film takes no responsibility in its depiction of this atrocity. Instead, it frames this act as heroic. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. When there is a Spartan who does not fit the ideal body type, he is depicted as disgusting and evil. Any attempt at humanizing him is brushed away casually and does not follow through on making him a sympathetic character. Yes, they actually did make him a sympathetic character to an extent at the beginning, Karen, if you were watching the fucking film. They made him a sympathetic character because you felt for him. You felt for him. You felt his desire to be a Spartan. He wanted to be a warrior. He was saved by his mother and, well, his parents, arguably, but his mother did not want to kill him, and his father, loving his mother and loving his child, decided he was going to go away instead of doing what was, I guess, the practice, so to speak. So you felt for him. King Leonidas also felt for him, if you were watching the movie, like I said, Karen, because he actually asked this individual here, show me your spear thrust, and complimented him. Then when he asked him to hold his shield up, because the Spartan had to be able to hold his shield up high enough to defend not only himself, but those around him, this individual could not. So King Leonidas says, I can't use you because you're unable to defend others around you if you can't do that. But you can stay to tend the wounded. He actually offered this individual here the chance to stay. He didn't cast him aside. He didn't try to kill him. He had sympathy for him. He actually said, I wish I could use you, but I can't. So you felt for this character. To the point where you were actually upset when he betrayed the Spartans. Did you miss that, Karen? Along with demonizing those with disabled and different bodies, the film is homophobic, and some of the most homophobic images are intentionally incorporated by Snyder, who seems unaware of how problematic this depiction of gender and sexuality is. One of the biggest instances of this dated homophobic representation is when Xerxes offers King Leonidas peace in exchange for submission. I love how you put that in quotes, submission. Because he actually wants him to submit to the Persian Empire. Which Snyder put in the film because, to use his words, what's more scary to a 20-year-old boy than a giant god king who wants to have his way with you? It would be the same as if what's more scary to a 20-year-old girl. What's more scary? He says 20-year-old boy because he's coming from his own perspective as a male. If it was a woman saying that, she would say 20-year-old girl coming from her perspective. And it would be just as fucking scary, Karen. Depicting a man as physically more powerful force who threatens violence in exchange for sex is a lazy trope too often used to hammer home that a male character is a bad guy. Slightly agree with you there. And in the case, it perpetuates a problematic stereotype of the predatory gay. No, it doesn't. You're using Zack Snyder's words against him. That's what you're doing. To fit your narrative. For decades, this type of representation justified the false belief that straight men should fear gay men because they would inherently pursue them sexually. So films like 300 perpetuate the false offensive notion that it is okay to be violent towards members of the LGBTQ community because they are pariahs. No, it fucking does not, Karen. I'm having an aneurysm, I swear to God. Oh my God, I feel my IQ just dropping. 300 may have been a box office hit that catapulted the careers of Snyder and Gerard Butler, but it is problematic. Again, every time you use that word, you lose credibility, Karen. Looking back 14 years later, the racism, fascism, ableism, and homophobia of the comic and film is as glaring and intensely problematic as ever. I love how you use that twice. Again, you lose credibility. If audiences choose to return to 300 with the 4K release, right here, they should be active viewers who critically analyze the problematic areas. I'm not. A task unfortunately not performed by the filmmakers during production. So there it is, people. There is the stupidity. There is the dumb fuckery that is this article, Zack Snyder's 300 remains intensely problematic, by none other than a Karen herself. But anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you agree with this author? Do you not agree with this author? Let me know. If you love this video, leave a thumbs up. Share on social media if you will. I will leave you all with this little tidbit, historical tidbit about the Spartans. In the movie, King Leonidas says to Xerxes, or to the Persians, come and get them. Well, he is genuinely credited with saying something like that. He actually told the Persians, come and take them, which is a phrase used by the Greek army now, and to an extent known also here where I am from in America, that is Molon Lave. Molon Lave. Molonlabe. Looks like Labe, but it's pronounced Lave technically. It means come and take them. So to that end, to go along with what King Leonidas genuinely said to the Persians, I say this to the Karens and SJWs and all those who are trying to take away our enjoyment of the movies and franchises we know and love to fit their own socio-political agendas and identity politics narratives. To that I say, Malone Lave and go fuck yourselves.